So welcome. So back to our fourth and last class. I am sad. So it's been a joy connecting through the class here with everybody. I just love, sharing this information and learning from you. It's a two-way street. So, and I love that people have been sending questions. I've been digging up answers and learning, and people have been sharing products. So there's always new things coming out. So you've got the skills, the foundation to move forward now. I'm super excited for you. Now, today we have a super just amazing topic. And a lot of people in the nutrition community do not know this. And so we're going to talk about how to get more power from the plate, like whatever you're already preparing. So it doesn't cost any money. So I would like to say a big thank you to Trinity Foundation, because we would not have these classes was it not for their support. And also Gilda's Club, super supportive, really big, yay raw. So make sure you check out their resources. Speaking of which, I do have a guest that I'd love to share. So let me go ahead and spotlight him so you can see him. Let's see. Here we go, add spotlight. There we go. So you are on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Teresa. I appreciate that. Hello, everybody. My name is Vicente. I am with Gilda's Club Quad Cities. We are an organization that works with those impacted by cancer. I'm here just to kind of explain a little bit about our services that we offer. I know Kelly was here a couple of weeks ago and explained kind of some of our services that we offered. I want to go ahead and explain the rest of them. So the first one I want to explain about is our educational workshops. And so those are all evidence-based research called Frankly Speaking About Cancer. And so we have an array of topics of things that we can talk about. Headquarters does all the research for us, and they go ahead and give us these presentations from this research that they provide. And we either, if we're able to present that on our own, if we have to hire someone or have someone present for us, like a doctor or someone specializing in that area, we go ahead and provide that information. In addition, we have some social connections. We have things like breakfast clubs, we have game nights, movie nights, we have a coffee and canines that we do, that we bring a therapy dog, and individuals bring their drink of choice, so coffee, juice, water, and hang out with the therapy dog and interact with other members of the clubhouse. As well as we have a book club and a walking club. As things are colder right now, it's on pause, but as things start to get warmer, we'll start that walking club back up again. And I also want to mention our kids programming that we offer. And so we offer some programming within schools and within our clubhouse. And so within the schools, we offer a Cancer One-on-One, which is a presentation that talks about cancer and very basic treatments and terminology and those sorts, how to support their classmates when a student does have a diagnosis. We also have a Zinc the Zebra, which is a character-based presentation curriculum. Helps them to understand the cancer, respect their students and their peers, and accept their peers, as well as presentations for teens. And we have a Grief Busters, which is a grief group for our students that have lost someone to a diagnosis. Within our clubhouse, we have Noogie Nights, which is a space for kids to come and hang out with other kids who have similar experiences as they do, just be kids, with a kids support curriculum, educational curriculum attached to that as well. And we have a teen time that meets on Tuesday nights in our clubhouse at the same time as the Noogie Nights do, for our teens to come and hang out with teens that are about the same age as them, and interact with other teens, just to kind of have that same experience. But that's really kind of all of the programming that we offer here at Gilda's Club Quad Cities. And so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us to learn more about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of
Wow.
course.
Is your head spin like, wow, there's so
Yeah.
many services.
Yep.
So yes, and like he was explaining, the club is fantastic. So if you haven't had a chance to go and view either the Moline or the Genesis Club, just go. And you can go to their organized activities, or you can just hang out because it's so relaxing.
Yep.
So yes. So okay, thank you. Awesome. I am going to, let's see. There we go. So we're back. And so, oh, let me hop over here because this will be part of the recording. There we go. Okay. So now time to share. I want to hear from you what learnings you've had this week, what you've tried out, and just, anything. Have you tried the master list, starting to write out your dishes that you make? Did you change your refrigerator? Did you try Faro? Anything, other ones. So share, please, in the chat. Take yourself off mute here.
I think all through the course, I've been trying new things, looking at new products in the store. So I was telling her like wraps, are something that's really kind of new. I was sick of salad, a little tired of soup. And it's like nice to just make a wrap. It's a salad in a biteable, easy, you can drive with kind of form. So I've got a new take on wraps. I think that's a big takeaway for me. And then as I was filling out the survey, I'm filling it out now, I thought, wow, I really have improved. Like I can say honestly that I've eaten more whole foods in the last 3 weeks than,
Wow.
than I did in the 3 months prior to that. So I think awareness is a big part of this.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring awareness, it's just like people who love their food tend to eat better. And I think when you add something this on top of other structures in life, I think it just builds, it takes you yet another notch. We all know that eating like this is important.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to agree with this, right? And it just makes a huge difference. So the awareness that you bring to the subject, I think, is good, and it makes it fun in a setting that's fun. And though I love the online version, and I'm glad it's there, I really enjoyed being in the room. And I find that tasting the food has made a difference and made me want to go out and buy the ingredients. So I think that's a difference between online and being in the room. That once your taste is activated, it's like, ooh, this is really good. So that's what I've noticed.
Wow, lots of gems. Thank you for sharing, Elaine. Thank you. Awesome. So do we have some from the virtual here? I see awareness. Jody says, I agree. Awareness really makes a difference. She's got all caps. So yes, that's the first step. So awesome. Lots of things going on, learning. So others? Wonderful. I know they're going on. So I'm going to take my coffee bean jar, and I'm going to add some there for the things that happen. And you see how this builds up. So you've got to have something visual because it's the journey, it's the actions towards where you're going that count. It's not what happens, it's just that you're on the journey. You're actually seeding it in your life. You're creating that moment, that priority in your life, and you will figure out what sticks and the whole kind of habit, but you got to make that room for it and seed it in your life. And that's so important, and seeing that, because it's going to take some trial and error. So awesome, guys. Awesome. All right. Okay. And so happy to hear that we're all making baby steps. So it's hard to just keep that and pull the reins back and just focus and be okay with, okay, I just did a few things this week, but that she said that's the way I need to go. Okay, I'm on the way I need to go. Okay. So, okay, before we dive in today, I do want to share some things that happen, kind of like Elaine was alluding here to, when you switch from ultra processed or closer to ultra, because it's a spectrum, to minimally processed, which is what you've been doing more of, there are changes that are going to happen. And so let me just share some of those things. One day of eating minimally processed whole foods, you're going to feel fuller longer, thanks to the whole grains, the fiber in there, so the vegetables and the beans. So 1 week, if you eat 1 week of whole food, minimally processed, you're going to be more productive, better mood, because you've got more phytochemicals, you have more fiber. You're not going to be overeating as much because you're not going to be this up and down going on. Your blood sugar is going to be much more stable. You're going to get diverse bacteria growing. So those are all great. Within a couple weeks, your cholesterol is going to start dropping, and the HDL improving. up, blood pressure is going to improve with those fruits and vegetables, potassium and lower sodium. And you may sleep better. Some people find they do. And in a month, most people, without even trying, if they're not at their healthy weight, they will lose a little more than 4 pounds. So, just focus on the learnings, focus on the actions that you're taking. So your body will figure out what is healthy for you. So, okay. So today's topic's really fun for me. So, would you like to know how to double, triple, maybe even 40 times the power of the food on your plate? Well, you can do that without adding a special ingredient. So let's get to it. So we're going to talk horticulture for a little bit. So, okay. So this is a wild mustard flower. So I want you to notice there's 4 petals. And you are not going to believe how many foods come from this beautiful flower. So that descended from this. So look at the petals kind of are across, kind of use your imagination. So, and all cruciferous vegetables are domesticated from this ancient flower, wild mustard. All of them. Over the last 2,000 years, farmers have been breeding them from the wild mustard into what seems like entirely different vegetables, but they're actually all related. So things like kale, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, they all come from the same plant. So here's kind of a little bit on some of them. So cauliflower is bred from flower clusters of the mustard flower, and the broccoli comes from the flowers and the stems. So yeah, you might need to take a deep breath because this is a lot to take in. They all come from the same genes there, pool. So, okay.
Teresa, I can't see the screen. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. I can hear you. So Jody, that's you?
Yes. I can't see the screen.
Okay. Dennis, are you seeing the screen? Can you take yourself off mute and tell me, because it's hard for me to see chats.
I can see
know
it.
you're there, Jen. You can see it. Okay, because Jody, I'm seeing it on, I have a fake participant computer here, and it is showing up on the screen. So my guess is your connection somehow lost it. Jump off if you still don't see it and come back in.
Okay, thank you.
So sorry, that's frustrating. Okay, we're gonna cross our fingers that Jody gets that back. Okay, so here's a full listing. And like I said, this is like mind-blowing. Okay, these are all cruciferous vegetables, guys. So they all are coming from, and we're gonna talk a little more about how important cruciferous are. So any you see on here that you like, oh my goodness, I want you to eat lots more of, okay? So now the secret power of this kind of family grouping of vegetables comes from a compound in them called glucosinolates. And they're wonderful at fighting for cancer and heart disease. So let's kind of dive a little bit into just a little chemistry. I'll keep it very light, guys. So we have the glucosinolates that are in the vegetables, these cruciferous. And then when we chop them or chew them, you could technically chew or blenderize if you're making a smoothie. Then you release, it's like these guys are neighbors and they didn't know. So you release this enzyme called myrosinase, and it combines with the glucosinolates to make isothiocyanates. I know that's a mouthful. And also you might hear sulforaphane and indoles are big cancer fighting things. So, and they were physically separated before, but when we chop them, we release it, okay? So now here's the thing. Heat and acid destroy or stop myrosinase activity, that enzyme that's so crucial. So if you want to get maximum isothiocyanates compounds, those sulforaphanes and indoles, you want to chop or blend and let it sit for 10 to maximum 40 minutes, okay? Now, no extra cost, you just let it sit, no extra ingredients. So, okay, now you're saying, Teresa, but what if I don't have 10 to 40 minutes? Okay, well, I have something you can do, okay? So, you can, of course, you can try and plan ahead and chop them the day before or something. earlier in the day. But here's a workaround. So by just adding a little mustard powder, because remember this came from mustard, and actually the mustard powder in your cupboard still qualifies, guys. So just a little bit, adding it, then that will keep the glucosinolates going. Okay, so we say about a quarter teaspoon for 7 cups uncooked cruciferous. That's all you need. That's hardly, you're not even going to taste that. A quarter teaspoon, sorry, it's a cup. Quarter teaspoon of powder mustard for what? Yes, Elaine.
Per cup or 7 cups?
7 cups. So I want you to know it's just easy peasy. It's like just a little bit you got to add in there. So now the other thing you could do is after it's cooked, add just a little bit of another chopped cruciferous. You see what's happening? So like horseradish is actually comes from cruciferous, or just a little bit of broccoli or kale that's raw, that's chopped if you wanted to, like if you topped it off a little bit and mixed it in there. So those are some kind of workarounds. So by adding the chopped raw, you're releasing some of the myrosinase enzyme with the glucosinolates that are in the cooked veggies, okay? Because we need that myrosinase in there somehow. So pretty cool. Okay, now the cruciferous that I'm talking about, the evidence is positive for cancer, heart disease, and inflammation. So we have most all of the cancers, cruciferous is a good go for. Some of the actions is sulforaphane is the big guy there in the indoles. They block cancer proliferation, induce apoptosis, they prevent MATs, they slow progression of benign and malignant tumors. Now, most of our research is, of course, in vitro, because like I said before, having a true well-done study is nearly impossible in the cancer world, especially with vegetables. So now heart, your we see LDLs sometimes change. We see micro effects with the plaque development, inflammation. There's some lower levels that we see of some of the key markers. So now the only group of people that we need to say a warning sign is thyroid patients. If you have hypothyroid or Hashimoto disease, then cruciferous are very high in potassium. Okay, and you might need to see your doctor about just before you go gangbusters with cruciferous. So just a word of caution. Garlic. Okay, garlic's different, but garlic still has a process, and it only takes 10 minutes for this process. So what I say is just look at your recipe, glance at your recipe, and then do your garlic first before you even hit the preheat button. So mince the garlic because it takes 10 minutes is all to get the maximum if you want of these diel sulfides. Okay, they're anti-cancer compounds. So, and actually if you get them 10 minutes, even 70% are retained after heating. So you just got to get that, and roasting you still can do it. So you just need that resting time. So, and with roasting, if you do like the bulb, a lot of times we just cut the top off and let it sit 10 minutes, like just a little bit at the top. It will do a lot. So, okay, some other kind of synergistic relationships, green tea and lemon. We talked a lot about green tea, but you add a little lemon, that vitamin C helps the catechins make more of that powerful antioxidant available. Okay, tomatoes and olive oil. Okay, that's a really great combination. Doesn't take a lot, only 1 teaspoon or less is needed. But whenever you're making, chili or tomato soup or, anything like that, just make sure you have a little bit of oil, guys. I'm not for eliminating all the oil, and olive oil, of course.
Is that for the lycopene?
Yes, it is. It absorbed Elaine asked, is it for the lycopene? And yes, and the lycopene is what connects to anti-cancer. So, and that's 2 to 15 times it increases when you add just that little bit. Turmeric there, it's an herb used throughout Asia, beautiful color. The active ingredient in there isn't the turmeric, it's a curcumin in there, not cumin, okay? Curcumin, it's a tongue twister. It's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. There's only 5% in turmeric, but you can increase it 2,000% by adding a little pepper. That's it. and it can be powdered, fresh, ground, whatever. Pepper. Pepper has piperine, which is an antioxidant. And you just need like 1/20th of a teaspoon. Now, I can't remember if on my gift I said for some reason I was panicked. I said 1/14th of a teaspoon. It's 1/20th of a teaspoon is all you need. So it's just a couple shakes, guys. So to add to your dish. So whenever you see turmeric on a dish, you got to make sure you throw some pepper in there. So, okay. So let's get down to soy, because this is a big one, a cancer and health. So should breast cancer survivors avoid soy foods? That's a very understandable concern. So soy is a very complex food made of many compounds. And your body takes the soy, breaks it down into smaller compounds, the building blocks, just like it does other things, so it can cross into our body. So, okay, and it does very well with soy foods. Now, here's the other thing you need to know. Our brain is wired for fear. So if we hear about something like soy and cancer, that gets planted in there. So we cling on to it. And even if you're a really good health professional, you keep that in there. And that's always going to surface. And here's the thing. Years ago, there were animal studies done that were misinterpreted to humans. And then in the 2000s, some studies were badly misinterpreted. Okay, guys, they really were. Media got hold of it and health practitioners didn't look at it closely. And you know what? When we look at the well-done science, the current data says there is no relationship between soy as a whole food form and cancer recurrence, even breast cancer, estrogen positive. Now, here's a couple, I'll clarify even more so that you understand that more. The earlier studies were done on mice, and we know that we metabolize soy differently than as humans. So we can't apply those to us. Another thing is phytoestrogens, that's just plant, phytos, plant estrogens. They are similar, but not the same as human estrogen. So you're not eating human estrogen. And also, here's the kicker, guys. We produce in our bodies way more human estrogen than we get in foods, okay? So it's compared to what we produce, what we eat isn't even a concern. And then another key thing is, as humans, we have two estrogen receptors, an alpha and a beta. And it's the alpha that's linked to breast cancer. And soy isoflavones tend to bind to the beta. Okay, so just want to, kind of explain it a little more so you're relieved, because that fear is still planted, and I still run into a lot of health practitioners that are still avoiding soy. So you don't have to eat soy to be healthy, but I don't want to rule it out just because of this unsubstantiated fear. So now keep in mind when I'm talking about soy foods, soy milk, that is, tofu, soy nuts, tempeh, edamame. Okay, so if you go to aicr.org, okay, you can check and click on the research tab and read more, and they will reinforce what I'm saying. For breast cancer hormone positive survivors, even if you look at all the organizations, the most conservative recommendation says 1 to 2 soy servings a day. That's the most conservative. Most of them are 4 to 5, but the most conservative is 1 to 2 is perfectly safe. So now you'll continue to hear people scared of soy because, just those studies. So now products like, yes, Mary.
On like vegetable like smoothies and whether or not to add soy protein and
You read my next notes.
oh
Yes. Mary is asking about soy like smoothies, and exactly. I am not an advocate of getting powder, the soy isolates, because it's concentrated, so concentrated. And it's soy, what we find is these foods work well synergistically. There's really stuff that we haven't discovered in many foods that are part of what is helping. And so when you start to isolate things, our studies go downhill as to benefit. So
Any powders, like for a cancer patient with cachexia or someone who's just not getting enough food in, are there any powders of any?
for protein and calories, yes, I would, casein powder is fine.
Okay.
Pea is protein powder. I would do those. I'm not scared of soy, but I wouldn't really make that a go-to. I would do tofu. Tofu's great to add to smoothies. I know it's a little different. So soy milk, that's a whole food. If you read it and it's just dehydrated soy milk powder, okay. But I would stay away from isolates, okay? So
Soy milk.
what? Soy milk? Yes. And actually, I will show you a soy milk I recommend because it's minimally processed. Because a lot of these milks, plant milks, you look at the ingredients, you're like, wow, that's like 50 words right there. So, and then that's not minimally processed in my book. So, yes. So, yes. So the overall recommendations for soy foods, again, you don't have to eat soy to be healthy, okay, to be optimally healthy. So, 1 to 2 servings a day is safe. I just want to say it's safe. Avoiding soy powders and soy pills. We just don't have the research to back that. So, and I just want to emphasize you don't have to. So eat it. So I do. I will have it for lunch. I made 2 bricks of tofu this week for some of our meals in the evening and then my lunch. I have it pretty regularly as my protein. Nuts or soy, the tofu is usually my protein at lunch. So it's so convenient. Once you do a brick and cook it up, it's just like it's done. It could stay for 7 days in the refrigerator. It's just easy. So, but I've been cooking with it for 20 plus years. I'll tell you more about that. So, our action steps today. So looking at them, I want you to start thinking about, are you going to start squeezing lemon? You know, how are you going to do that? I mean, it doesn't have to be fresh lemon. It can be. That's kind of fun to put in your drink. Increase my cruciferous servings at least 1 a week. And you'll look at my gift, and I'll send you virtually, guys, that are on the gift. So don't worry. But on the gift, I actually, when I was working one-on-one with cancer patients, I had different levels of plans because some people come in super educated and they're like, tell me exactly. And then some people, it's like they're going from the American, standard diet. And it's like, okay, we can't go to the golden plan yet. So, and one thing I did emphasize and saw the research, and this has been there for years, guys, this is nothing new. 5 servings of cruciferous a week is ideal to work yourself up to. Work yourself up to, guys. And it's not that hard. That's cabbage, broccoli, kale. Oh my goodness, it's not that hard. I mean, every salad I make on the weekend, bulk salad, either has cauliflower, broccoli, or cabbage in it, okay? Or kale. Every single one does that I do my bulk. It's not that easy, and I have delicious different salads. So, okay, so also I do have a post-assessment survey, and let's see, I'm going to get off here, sharing back to me. So there we go. And I'll send it to you guys virtually. So it's really important. Part of the assessment, I don't know if you'd kind of noticed, was me trying to kind of seed you for looking at your identity. And the reason for that is the research says that people that sustain healthy habits, they when they turn that kind of corner of seeing themselves as somebody that values healthy habits and is going to pursue it at whatever level they are at, that is when things take hold and they're on the journey for the long term. And I want you on the journey for the long term. So, and part of that is seeing this as fun, being an adventure. What recipes get you tingling? I want you to find those and try those out and spice up your own that you have. So you'll see that question there. That's there for a reason. The other questions too at the end are what I see. I don't have any program that I want to push on you, but there's some certain things that I see, and that is, we know that half fruits and vegetables eating, oh my goodness, those populations, no matter where they live in the world, they lived over 100 without even trying, with no treadmills in their room, no technology, but they live over to 100. And that's because they're eating, and they don't eat the same fruits and vegetables, guys. All these different populations in the world, they eat what's local and they eat a variety. So that's one thing. The other thing is eating whole foods. That's really key. So again, we have thousands of millions of different foods that can qualify for. And then the last thing is eating to your full just getting full, like 80% full, but not over full. And that takes training, and we don't really emphasize too much in here. I just want to plant that seed. I do go into that more so in the foundational class and a little bit in the diabetes class. So, but it's something to just want to plant the seed for. It's not about perfection. I'm not perfect. I do overeat, but it's not that often. And I don't feel guilty at all when I do. I just go back to my habits. So, okay. And don't be shy about taking this class again or taking another class, because this is to support you. And I know it's hard when you get out of class. So, because the majority of people out there aren't really on this journey yet. Okay. So, and you can bring them to class. I love that. But they may not be on board yet or ever. So, but you have to speak for you. So if you want to take another class, take this again. I'm happy to have you in class. So keep that in mind. Okay. So let's get going. I'm going to do the dressing for the coleslaw. So yes, let's go ahead and switch to cameras. Let me see if I remember here, because I did forget last time. I'm learning. Thank you guys. You are so patient here. And I see Microsoft Teams changed from last week to this week. That's always fun too. So let's see, room camera, and we're on camera 2. Yes, it looks like we are. I'm seeing my hands here.
I would 1.
Yes. Okay, or 2 maybe. 2 can do 2.
Hands, okay.
Yes. So let's see, I want to get my sauce. So, okay, the sauce for this coleslaw, guys, we did kind of a spicy peanut sauce last week, and this is just another rendition. Similar, you find what you like, but there's a lot. You can use it for a stir fry. You can use it for the coleslaw. Last night, I actually used it for dinner. So what did we have? You're thinking, oh, well, we had rice rolls. Remember the spring roll rice rolls? And I cooked up some rice noodles. Now you get those at the Asian store. You can get them at Walmart, but my kids love the Asian store, and we go there and super cheap. Like they have a whole aisle with rice noodles. So, and so you eat them cold. You actually cook them and then run cold water over them, and you just put a little on the rice wrapper after you've gotten it wet. And then I just did matchstick red pepper, carrot, and cucumber, and then a little bit of basil, either basil or a mint. And then I had tofu in there. Now you can do shrimp. You want small, because you have to roll it up. But I did very small cubes of tofu. You can either bake it or saute it. You can flavor it or not flavor it, because then you roll it up and you dip it in the peanut sauce. And the girls ate all of theirs last night. So it was like, even though they were not the prettiest roll-ups, okay, the nice thing is it sticks. So even if you have a tear, it still rolls with those. So, but you can use this for all kinds of things, guys. You can put it in, your tortilla wrap as the sauce too. I mean, it adds a lot of flavor. So, okay, so let's throw this together. So I'm just going to put the ingredients together. We have just a little bit of peanut butter. I just use regular peanut butter, guys. So, yes, if you have natural, but I've never really gotten in the habit of liking to mix peanut butter. So that's natural. I've tried, and I've even got a mixer that goes on the lid, and I just failed. So, let me push this out of the way. Actually, you can see, guys, I keep thinking you're there, but you're there. So yes, let me put on my gloves. So just regular peanut butter. It has a little sugar, yes, added. So, but it's, we're not eating spoonful after spoonful. So, so peanut butter, got a 1/4 cup there. We're gonna have a little bit of coconut aminos. Remember the coconut aminos? When it's coconut, it has lower salt than the liquid aminos made by Bragg's. And then the coconut secret is kind of the lowest I've been able to find, but I can't find it anymore. So that's a problem. And then sriracha. Kids love sriracha nowadays. So just a little bit. If you don't like much kick, you can skip that. But if you need more kick, more sriracha. So find the lowest sodium there. And then ginger. I want to talk a little bit about ginger, because you'll see ginger on the gift as one of the top foods that I highly recommend that the research says. And so I did fresh here. You can always do powder. Don't feel guilty if you're in a hurry. I do. Some nights I'm just like, it's powder night. So, but I want you to be comfortable with fresh. So you can break off from the bin that you see at Walmart or Hy-Vee, whatever you need. Now I'm always looking for fingers like this because I will break this off and then I will take, let's see, I put it back. Then you want to just take this and peel it. And to me, it's easier, you'll see, to grate it then. We get that off like that. And then I can, that's how I grate it. Now you can have a zester or a grater, micro grater like this. So, but we need to get this down. The other way that you can peel this, especially when you get the knobs, you can use a spoon to just pull it back, go around the knobs. Now, I am not patient to go over knobs, guys. So you will not see me probably using a spoon at home. Okay. It's ginger. Now, some people I know in class have actually, and you can peel the whole thing and then freeze it. Okay, but you got to freeze it. You got to peel it before you freeze it because you're not going to be able to thaw it and then wait. So, but you can, that's why you can keep these. So they will keep in the refrigerator, but not forever. But another way you can use ginger is just, and my daughter does this all the time. She loves ginger tea. She has tummy problems. So just take a little piece and put it in hot water and drink the tea. That's it. That's ginger tea, guys. And that's going to be anti-cancer. So no caffeine either. So, so we've got, ginger is just nice kick and it's got a lot of anti-cancer properties. So we're going to add that. If you don't like kick, then you might need to back down a little bit on the ginger, but, and then we're going to do garlic. And remember garlic, how you can use powder again. Fine to do that, half a teaspoon, but I let this set out. Remember, you want to look at your recipes and do the garlic first. And if you have any cruciferous, try and do those earlier in the day. So remember, we just cut off the top and the bottom, and then usually I'll just, and I can just do it without cutting off the top and bottom. Sometimes I can pick off the skin then, and then I can mince this here. And the nice thing is I've already crushed it, so I'm starting to let the juices out. So we've got our garlic and we're gonna have a little bit of sweetener. I don't feel guilty about that sweetener. It's just a little bit, guys. And then some lime juice, 2 tablespoons of lime juice. So usually that's 1 to 2, depends upon some of the drier limes, you'll need 2. So, and then we're gonna add a little bit of water here and to get it a little thinner. And that's our sauce. So let me just whisk that. Go ahead. Thank you.
You ever tried broth instead of water and does it wreck it or find water?
No, we're just thinning it. Broth. Elaine asked broth. That's fine. You can make, if peanut, somebody has an allergy, you can use tahini. It's a little nutty, a little less peanutty, but and also if you're like, oh, I don't have the recipe. Guys, peanut sauces are basically some type of acid, lemon or lime. A lot of times lime is used, but the other day I had to use lemon because I didn't have a lime. Sometimes rice vinegar. We didn't add any rice vinegar here. A little bit of coconut aminos, usually. A little bit of sweetener is oftentimes in there. And then if you want more kick, sriracha. But that's, just make your own, okay? For a dipping sauce or adding pizzazz. So,
Sauce thing.
good question. How long does it stay? I would say 2 weeks. I've taken it longer. I did take it too long, but that was a long time. So, I'd say easily 2 weeks. So I actually usually make my sauce and then put it in a squeeze bottle. The only thing is with this garlic in here, and if you ever use like a sweet Thai chili in yours, you can use that too, a teaspoon of that. Sometimes they have the little pieces, so you got to cut the nib off of the squeeze bottle a little more to let through those things. So, okay, so we have our sauce there for our coleslaw. So, and then for the actual dressing, so I'll have you put those in the sink. That would be great too. So we've got a lot of our cruciferous here, guys. So we've got all kinds of color happening and awesome stuff. So I'm just gonna get a big bowl here. And, oops, big bowls here. So cabbage. So red cabbage overall has more antioxidants, but I researched this. Let me tell you, they're not all the same. It's not like red was green first and became red, okay? So red has the highest antioxidant total, the highest FRAP, that's called ferric-reducing antioxidant power. But Chinese, which I call Napa, but it's called Chinese a lot of times, has the highest ABTS antioxidant activity. And the green, which is the green that I have here, has the highest DPPH. It's a free radical scavenger activity. So the bottom line is they're different antioxidants, okay? So when we talk anti-inflammatory, red is lowest, and Chinese green and Savoy are the highest. So, that's why I recommend if you can do a little of both. Maybe you can't, that's fine, just rotate it maybe. So I'm just going to add, I've got 2 cups of the red or purple, and then I've got 2 cups of shredded carrot, and you could just chop that up if you don't want to do shredded. Shredded is convenient, it's a little more expensive, but you be the judge of which works best for you. So for the cabbage here, I want to show you, I put the damp paper towel over in a plastic bag. You can use the plastic bag you get from the grocery store, that's fine. But to cut a cabbage, it's real simple. We had a cabbage that we did before like this, the head off. That's not the normal way to cut a cabbage. You set it on its stem. I took off the top layer. It's really usually compact. You don't have to take off much. I mean, if it looks icky, of course, take that off. But most of the time, they're looking pretty good. And they've actually, in the grocery store, taken off a layer or two often. So you just cut it in half, and you can see there, I've got the core there. So then I'm going to put it down and take note of where that core is. I'm going to go straight through it a quarter again. Okay. And now I've got this wedge, and the wedge I just want to cut off. So I just cut off the wedge, and now I've got all this that I can chop up and then use that, all of this. You can get about 8 cups on half a cabbage. Okay, 6 to 8 cups. So you get quite a bit, and it's very easy to chop. You see how here I'm just chopping it? I just want 2 more cups of this to give me my 2 more cups to get to 6 cups total. That's why I said 6 cups. You can do whatever you want. If you want more carrot, less carrot, more cabbage, you can do that. So we just need a little more here. Okay, should be good. There we go. There we go. Then scallions. So this was 2 scallions. I did all the greens and the white. That's why it looks like a lot. It's only 2 scallions there. So, so here, remember, we covered the ends with a damp paper towel, but I did all the, the greens are looking really nice. Now, after a week, the greens, because they don't have moisture, are going to kind of wilt. So I would probably, cut down and then chop the green that I can get. And then cilantro, we're going to have the cilantro. Remember cilantro? We have stored like this. So that's how I always have it at home. So we're just going to stir this together and then add our sauce. Look at the beautiful color there. Just think of all the power there. Now that green cabbage, I didn't have 40 minutes. So, so tell me, what could I add to this to give it some more power? Some mustard. I could add mustard to add more power. Now, if you looked at the gift list, mustard probably wouldn't even change the taste, a 1/4 teaspoon. So the other thing that you might consider, because it doesn't really change taste, it does change color, but we've got a dark brown, is turmeric. Now, I didn't talk too much about turmeric, but you'll see on the gift list, turmeric, again, with the pepper is a big, big thing. So for anti-cancer. So you could just add a touch of that. So I just want you to learn what you can do with your recipes to add more power to them.
Prepared mustard acceptable too to increase morosinase?
It does. It does. I've looked at that. So yeah, it would be a little more than that 1/4 teaspoon, but yeah, but that's going to add more flavor too. So, but yeah, I mean, I love Dijon. So we got a little bit of scallion to chop up too well. So there we go, guys. Look at that. So we're going to taste that, have that. Okay. So tofu. So, and as we're finishing up here, I'm gonna whip this together. Thank you so much. This is a very easy dish, and actually I don't need to chop any, so I won't even need the chopping board. So tofu. Tofu I've been making for a long time because my ex's parents, my mother-in-law is Filipino, Seventh-day Adventist, 90 years old. And she was a missionary wife in Laos as her first rotation 50 plus years ago. So imagine Laos 50 plus years ago. Okay. And if you know anything about Seventh-day Adventists, it's vegan. So, I mean, a lot of people that are Seventh-day Adventists will go vegetarian and then maybe some meat too. I know a lot that do meat, but they're very conservative. So it's definitely vegan. So, so she taught me a lot and really did. And it's super inexpensive. She's all about inexpensive. She has some amazing tricks she can do. So with tofu, a couple things that I want you to learn real quick. Oh, and yes, like I was saying, as we're finishing up, if you've enjoyed class, what I could use your help with is just letting your doctor know, because many of the doctors in the area do not know about this gem. So it's free. It's here to help raise the health of the community. So I need your help. So drop by your doctor next time you see them, share the binder, say, hey, this was something that really helped me. So, and the other thing is, share it with people that are starting on their journey and could use some support, because it is hard. So, and everybody's different. I'm not trying to mold anybody into any kind of thing. I'm just trying to give them ideas to go from and create their own adventure and healthy eating. So those things would help a lot. And also in the back of the binder, I don't know if you noticed, we have a story about Jessica. She's a success story from our classes. We have many success stories, and you are a success story. I want to put that on your shoulders too. Just by making it through this class and taking steps, you are a success story. And we have a envelope there. If you feel like making a donation of any amount, you know, our classes are supported by donations. So it would be appreciated, but you know, even also sharing with your doctor, any of those things would help us a lot. So, and if, you know, at the future date, you know, you want, you know, people like hearing from you, not me. So to get people to encourage them to take the class, the best way is for you to share how it helped you. Okay. This isn't about dropping 100 pounds. This is about you have a new outlook on eating, and it's not a chore like it used to be, and it's actually delicious. You know, those are my hopes that you've discovered. So keep that in mind, because we can always share out in the community people that have been through the classes and how it has really helped you on your journey. So everybody here is a success story. Okay, so tofu. So when you get it out, you know, any tofu is that in the water that you get there, it's going to be soft, firm, extra firm. The difference is the water that's clung to in the tofu. The only ingredients in tofu are organic soybeans, calcium sulfate, and water. How many is that? 3 if you count water. So this is very minimally processed. And the calcium sulfate actually makes it high in calcium. And the calcium sulfate is used to curdle the tofu, just like we curdle milk for cheese. We curdle soy milk for tofu. So, so there's less water clung to. So if you're going to want it a little crispier, which most people do, I go for extra firm. So usually I grab the extra firm. So you get it out, and there's water. You just pour the water out, and there's this brick, and I wrapped it in paper towels here. Normally I would never ever do that, but here we don't have dish towels, so that's what we do here. So, but at home I always use a dish towel. And what I actually do, this is a new thing that I've learned. If you're going to saute tofu, which a lot of times we're not going to, I'm going to break this up for our dish, but I also want to get you going about tofu. You slice it usually about into 8, so 4 on each, but I'm just going to show you real quick here, half of one, what I do. So usually what I do is take my my dish towel, okay? And this is what I did this weekend to do my 2 bricks. So put it down because I need to get the water out so that it's crispier and it can absorb flavor. So I need to get the water out. So I put the dish towel down, then I put the dish towel over, and then I put a cutting board on top, and then I stack dishes on top of it, okay? Because that weighs it down, okay? Now, sometimes you'll just take the whole brick and try and weigh it down. I did that for years and years and years. My daughter actually taught me this. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's going to get more water out quicker. 30 minutes like this, that's pretty much you're enough. So you can go longer if you want, but 30 minutes this way is really good. So that's what I do for, like, if I want to saute it, if you want to cube it and bake it, and, but I will start with this flat kind of meatloaf slice looking here. So, okay. So what we're going to do for actually the recipe is, let me see my notes here. Okay. So we drain the tofu. We're going to break it up and we're going to heat the oil. Let me get my pan here. So for lunch, just FYI, what I'm going to have is I have my roasted veggies, the red peppers and the mushrooms that I did this weekend with a couple slices of tofu. And then I have a peanut. It's from the Foundational. It's the hoisin-like peanut sauce that I just squeeze over it. Okay. So it could be this. This is delicious. They're similar in somewhat, but so that's what I'm gonna have for lunch. So it's just so easy. Everything's already prepped. I just have to assemble real quick in the morning or the night before and have my container and go. So, okay. So we're gonna get our oil going real quick. Just a tablespoon here of the olive oil. So put that there. And at home, I would have my sponge that I would just kind of work it around, but we're gonna do that. And then I'm gonna take my tofu and I'm just gonna break it up like this. Okay, so fun, so fun. You guys can see at home, can't you? Yep. Okay, just squish that. Woo! Woo! It's like sand, wet sand. So. Okay, so we're breaking it up because we want to make it like scrambled eggs. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to switch my gloves. So now I'm going to add roasted red pepper. So roasted red pepper is just roasted red pepper with a little citric acid usually. Maybe some salt. So you look for your lowest salt. This is 105 milligrams per 8 pieces. So this one's already chopped. Sometimes I just always look for the lowest sodium. I don't care. Sometimes they're halves, chopped, sometimes. So we're going to
dry.
What?
Do we use the dry?
I haven't, no, but I would just look at whether it's soaked in oil or not, but you could use that for sure. So the nice thing is, either of those jars, you have them on hand. You can have them on hand. I mean, once you open them, you got to use them within a week or so. But there's something when you're in a bind, and they're actually very tasty. So we're going to add that in there. And then we're going to add just a couple more ingredients. You see how easy this is. And it's about spreading it out because we need to evaporate the water, even though I have extra firm, because you want your eggs to not be too mushy. So how you like it. It will cook quickly. We've got high heat here. So we're going to add then, let that cook, but I'm going to add some tomato paste. I love tomato paste. It's sweet. It's just tomatoes, guys. And actually, usually it doesn't matter if you get low sodium because they don't. I mean, always read. Make sure it's not seasoning. Anything that says with seasoning, that's code for salt. But, this wasn't low sodium. I didn't see any on the shelf, but it only has 20 milligrams of sodium for 2 tablespoons. So not very much. So this is just concentrated tomatoes cooked down. So it's sweet and it's wonderful. And don't use quite a full, you don't use all of this. So what I did is just put 2 tablespoons dollops there and I froze it there. And I will take these off at home and put them in a little container. because I use tomato paste all the time. I use it instead of a lot of tomato products because I like it. It's just more flavorful to me. So just easy. It's not expensive. It's just about having these things on hand. So, okay, so we're going to add this in. And then our seasonings are just real simple: smoked paprika and chili powder. Remember, chili powder, no added salt. Don't want to get Tones or McCormick. Smoked paprika, I just love. It's just really a nice flavor. You could add some to the peanut sauce, actually. It's nice with that sriracha kind of there too. So we're just gonna keep this spread out. Having a bigger saute pan helps kind of cook that down. And I'm gonna add the seasonings in. Lots of those. You can add more. I can smell that paprika. Can you smell that paprika? We can smell it in here. So we're just going to mix that in. You could put this on toast with some greens. We're going to here just serve it in. You can just serve it and roll it up and eat it like a roll up on a lettuce leaf, or you can just chop up some greens there. So I hope that you're starting to see we can serve food on greens. It's not a habit that we grew up with because we didn't have greens when we were growing up. You know, I didn't see them in the grocery store. We saw iceberg with lettuce. That was the only thing I ever saw. So, but a lot of things, just that's an easy way to add in nutrition, add in fiber. It'll fill you up, guys, so that you just manage your hunger a little bit better. So, but, and rolling it up and just rolling it up and eating it. So, this is, I'm just going to get a plate. And we just want to cook this. If you can cook this longer if you want, to get it a little more dried out. So just like that. I'm just going to scoop up a little bit and put it in here. There we go. See how you could do that in the morning? Just roll it and go and eat that. So you've already got veggies then. You've got really good protein with the tofu. You've got calcium in there. So good spices in there. Just a good way. You're going to feel full. Tofu actually has fiber, guys. It's a plant. Remember, it comes from soybean. So it's good on protein, fiber, potassium, and calcium. So, again, it's an easy food once you get over it's gray, ugly, and spongy. Okay, so, but I normally eat it sauteed to firmer. You usually toss it in like the cubes, like last night I tossed it in cornstarch and baked it a little longer. But I used my brick that I made earlier in the week. I just have those kind of meatloaf sautés, and I can just do a lot with that. I can chop it up and add it to a wrap. I can, like I did last night, added it to the rice rolls. So you can add it to a stir fry. You can just eat it as a side, as a protein. So I know that's a foreign concept, but I am spoiled because my mother-in-law would make it all the time. So I just saw it as when we did family gatherings all the time. So awesome. Well, I hope you have some great ideas. Keep at it, guys. It isn't easy, but you got it, guys. You can do it. And, when you slow down, that's okay. So you just keep at it. That's the whole thing. This is the tortoise and the hare. You are the tortoise. So you're just keeping at it and you will make the journey. You will improve your health. Just baby step at a time. So thank you. It's always just a thrill to be here with you and share some of my passion and learn from you. So thank you and have a great day.